I'll trim half here.
All right, Trent, right click that the current order book column, the one that's all the way to the right. You can get rid of that one. That's the aggregate view. That's fucking useless to you unless you're trading and fucking in deltas. Which
Say it one more time.
So right click that COB column, the current order book column all the way to the right. I'm gonna fucking get rid of that shit.
COB.
Yeah, all the way to the right. Just
This?
down a little. Down. No. Yep. Right
Oh.
click that.
Right click. Nothing happens.
All right, do it on the heat map thing. You're gonna have to do it on there. Right click.
Heat map. Oh, configure
column. All right, switch that to SVP, session volume profile. Yeah, just click that gray box and you'll be able to change it.
Ah, okay.
Let's see.
It's only volume, trades counter, quotes delta, time and sales. Is that because it's free version?
Hold on. No, you should have. Hold on. Let me go on. Let me log on to my other COS account. Hold on. Hold on.
Yep.
Slightly different settings from the regular program to the Thinkorswim.
So I opened this tab, Tiffany. Hallett just told me you right click on like the orders on the right. And then hit configure column. And then I don't know what he's trying to tell us to do next. Okay. Yep. Split
All right,
display.
Trent, press the little plus button. You can get rid of the second that second current order book that was aggregate view, and then you should be able to see the session range volume profile.
Oh, okay.
And then make sure you add the time and sales too, because the time and sales that's going to be shown on the bookmap plugin inside
Which one do
TOS.
I want? Session range.
Yeah, session
Trades
range
counters
volume.
or quotes counter.
Nope. Session range volume profile.
Session.
Jump back to your screen. Hold on.
Oh, volume profile. Okay. Do I hit create?
Yep. All right, and then hit the plus again.
Okay.
And then you can add the time and sales. And then I will send a picture of what my volume profile settings are. All right, so the different thing here, right? So this time and sales, the data is going to be streamed 100% differently than if you were just to watch ES in the normal time and sales, because the difference in this view is this is full market depth. So this is going to show you out of all the exchanges that it's pulling from the CME, from the smaller international ones, it's going to pull all of the data that's coming in, which is usually accounts to about like 70% of the data that you're missing from the regular TOS version. So you're going to see a lot more fucking orders that probably pop up in here. So keep this one open. Now I'll leave one of the current order books open. There's an option for the current order book that says aggregate view, and make sure that's unselected, because that's going to show you basically the trades counted in deltas. But yeah, no, you're good, Trent. And then if
explain
you go to
this in the middle.
So I'll explain in a second.
Okay,
so
okay.
Open up the settings for the session volume profile. It's the same thing as last time. And then when that's open, you're gonna make sure show VWAP line and then show POC on chart. And then you want to align everything to the left. Should be a little function that lets you do that. Let's click that. It should move everything.
I don't know if the alignment worked.
Yeah, you might have to just redo it.
Split display. Oh,
there you go. Yeah, I like my view personally. Like other people like it on each side. I like all my shit to the
Oh,
left.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
I like
essentially,
that.
anybody who's traded with volume profile before, essentially volume profile is basically the amount of whatever traded at a particular level. So typically it's a little harder to see on ES, but the like that area on your chart that's 4205, if you notice that part where the volume has shrunk down, those are what we call imbalance areas. And then the areas where there's the volume looks to be a lot higher and it's drawn out between a couple of levels, we call those, that's a balance area in the market. So typically you'll see sometimes liquidity spots line up right in between these imbalance areas because it's almost like there's essentially missing liquidity, not missing liquidity, but not as much padding at those particular levels. So sometimes you'll see price retrace to there, or they'll get liquidity added at those levels. And usually what this does is those imbalance areas for bigger players, this allows them to take usually more control over a market at a particular price, because if there's more players, playing at 4,200, it's going to be a lot harder for you to control that price level there. So usually bigger money players will try to position themselves into, certain imbalance areas, maybe just above, just below, maybe right in between. Um, so those are some things just to keep in the back, in the back of your head. And we're going to change a couple other settings. Trent, right click your heat map again, the blue, just somewhere in the blue. Just the middle of the heat map's fine. Nope. Oh, you got to do it in the heat map. Near the balls. All right, so you're going to go to heat map settings. All right, so the first thing is you can turn on the candlesticks if you want. I like the candlesticks on just from obviously.
Okay.
Turn on VWAP. VWAP's fucking one of the most perfect indicators on this.
Ooh.
So
Oh yeah.
this VWAP is going to look a little bit different from your one if you're trading on Trading View or any of the other ones. This pulls data from a different time period because most of the data sources officially pull data at 6 p.m. Or 8 p.m. Eastern time, or well, one of those. It's either 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. versus like a lot of our trading ones will either pull from like 4 in the morning or right from the open. So if it does look a little bit differently, that's fucking why. And it's perfectly fine to leave it that way. Um, so Trent, that part that says lower cutoff percentage, turn that all the way up. And then you can leave the upper cutoff. So what that's going to do, right? So that's essentially filtering the order sizes that you're going to see, right? So lighter liquidity is always shown in the, light blue, dark blue, dark color. And then that medium liquidity is going to be that white to yellow. And then anything that starts to represent something high, we know rotates into orange, red, dark red. So that's going to filter a lot of like essentially the retail based liquidity orders, because there's sometimes like 50 contracts sitting on a level really isn't that much for like ES, or like 25 contracts. That's a shit like we can honestly ignore. But when you start to see on ES like 1,000 at a particular level, 500 to 1,000, 2,000, which you will see, those are going to be things that are more valuable, because remember, everything in the futures market's a levered product. It's got the multiplier on it. So every time, people buy, it's going to have more influence in the market than if you bought, the corresponding amount of shares that go with that. All right, so go to the volume bars now, Trent, in that little settings box you got there. Okay, actually, no, that's good. That has my settings. All right, now go to volume dots. All right, so switch that to total volume, and then go down to clustering, and then switch that to none. And then you can close it from there. Yeah, those are my settings. It just helps filter out a lot of the fucking a lot of the noise. And if the candles look like they're too clustered, you can always just fucking remove them.
Awesome. So that's all your settings.
Yeah.
Great.
Obviously, minus the obviously you can't get the indicators on there.
Right. Yours is the full version, but this is the free version. Anyone in TOS can
Yeah. So
enable
this
this
is
free
essentially
version.
it's real, like, even though it's the free version, it's actually like you get getting like 3 really premium, like, because just to get even 2 of the stocks and fucking the futures, like, you're not paying like 200 a month for it. So it's still nice to have. And if you trade really, if you're trading SPY, you really don't need you don't necessarily need the SPY liquidity. You can trade it off of ES.
So I had this recorded, guys. I'll snip this and kind of post it for everyone for the bookmap settings that wants to recreate those settings if you didn't catch it all. So good thing I was recording. And thank you, Hallett.
Yeah. Yeah, it just helps too because like a lot of the people like when like using bookmap, a lot of the people just assume any liquidity goes up. You got to remember like everything you're seeing is like essentially this is like the visual version of level 2, you know what I mean? So like anything that's already predisposed limit orders that are placed, like you're seeing, you're seeing that some of the liquidity that you may see at this 4203 handle on trends chart, like that could be stop losses there, anything that's placed within a limit order. And the stuff that's going in between, like that's your market orders that are generally moving everything. And like usually to create one volume, you need a buyer and a seller. So really it's usually who's more aggressive. So at that point, it's really who's fucking market ordering and who's not to push price to particular levels. But when you're reaching these red liquidity spots, often they need like the 3-touch rule for how we create support and resistance on a chart. It's the same principle for when you're drawing liquidity out. That's how that idea came about for drawing support for technical analysis. So it's like that 3-touch rule in the chart. Because there's 1,000, sitting up on the offer above us. That first touch, all those orders might not get activated. Maybe they will, depending how aggressive the market is, the volume sentiment. But often it's gonna, maybe execute 30% of them, come back down, pick up some more buying liquidity to have to reach back up again. So it's always like this constant ladder of like drawing liquidity from one side and then people hopping in between to move it. And then for like a lot of things, like there's certain different obviously times where the market's more volatile. So like I like to trade around like 230 to, usually that 415 period. And like that's usually where a lot of time the market maker liquidity steps into play. So like on a day typically that if you have like a a selling day like we had yesterday, generally the market maker, pending that there was nobody buying yesterday. Okay, this is just in theory, right? So if like everybody is selling and nobody is buying, the market maker has to then take on that role as a liquidity provider and step up as the buyer, right? So this, when they're a buyer, right, they're long delta, so they end up having to hedge it off usually through puts, or they'll do it through the take negative deltas through the future. And basically what happens is people will try to use how the market maker float is positioned basically for their trades. This is something usually bigger players do. So like we get that selling day, we know that they're long. We know if they're long, they have to sell that inventory by 4 o'clock or at least by the close. So you essentially want to use that to kind of gauge a potential direction. So usually if they're long and they have to sell, they're going to at some point do a liquidity grab at somewhere between that last hour to hour and a half into close. And it may be small, it could be fucking massive. Usually it's the candle that causes you some sort of euphoria. That's usually how you fucking know that it is, because you're like, you'll have like an oh my God reaction. And then that's usually at the point where you want to take like almost like the opposite side of the trade, because you'll see like, we'll be red all day and then we'll get this like massive push up and then they pull the fucking rug from you from that. So it's like you can use those trade opportunities, and you'll notice that like the tape will get a lot hotter at particular levels. Like if you're a QQQ trader, like a normal size amount of orders that are within like every 10 cents and 50 cents and every dollar mark is 4,100 orders. But usually in high volatile markets, the market maker will double up the padded algo on both sides to 8,200. So then I know to look at anything that is within that 4,100 or less, or between that 8,000 mark. I know it's generally could be a market maker based liquidity. And you can tell usually when it's either pinging off right at 400 or it's pinging off in like 1,000 lots. And then if there's like a jump in liquidity that happens in the last hour, you notice you'll see a lot of like 10,000 lots come in, 20,000 lots that are sitting at particular levels, but it's a lot closer than it is before. So you can use those to gauge out, and then usually you'll see the rug pull that happens if they're long and have to sell off. So you can try to get a grips of how they're kind of using liquidity to their advantage, and you'll see it. Like yesterday was fucking a waterfall right into close. Pretty principle. And the same thing shit happens for like the opposite side. If we have like a bull day, the market maker is going to run short, they have to buy back. So people will, usually a bull markets, people have been trading a while. You've seen how many times have we usually pushed into close in a bull market? Countless fucking times. So a lot of people, like institutional players, will step in between that liquidity. Like if there's 4,100 sitting at, let's say 400, and then there's nothing at 450, but then there's another 4,100 stack at 401. The not the market makers, the bigger players will hop in between that liquidity. So it's like whatever's filling that gap to help push. That's where you start to see that big ladder climb up and blowing through price. Yeah, I'll post a picture of it. The 4,100 for the person who just asked.
That's a good question. For the free version, does it save the settings for like the other two tickers at Apple, Microsoft?
That's a good question. I honestly have no idea.
No,
It
it
should
doesn't.
save
She
it. It should
says.
if you save the workplace, it should save everything.
Let's see if I go back to the other window. I don't want to lose the settings.
Hold on one sec. If you look in the picture I posted in main chat, if you look at the current order book column, you see just about like every 10, usually every 10 cents ish. And this has only been, it used to be every 40 to 50 cents. You'd see 4,100 orders sitting. But now since this correction, since the new year, really, it's been fucking like every 10 cents just because it's been a little more volatile. And the market makers will always fucking double up their algos.
Oh wow, yours looks like that. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's fucking really zoomed in. I wouldn't normally fucking trade like that. I normally
Yeah.
make it look a little cleaner. But I was just trying to zoom in on the current order book part. So you have to set those.
Zod's like, what am I looking at?
Yeah, I know. I kind of put a shit picture in there. But yeah, so like in another thing is I like to look for a lot of like I'm trying to how to think, like a lot of like structures that get created, right? So like if you create any ranges that get created, like we sell off, we find a bottom, we range for a little bit, like the bottom and top of that range that get created, like those are huge areas to like always keep in mind. So it's like kind of the idea of like resistance, turn, support, because like those tops and the bottoms, like somebody is dominant on each of those sides. So like that's why generally you fucking most people get fucked over on like a breakout or something, like trying to buy the breakout or something, because there's usually someone trying to fucking control the price at a particular level. So like let me find a good idea. Yesterday was a really good example, but like even on the Qs, right, when we like opened up around like 317, sold off to like the 315, that like 317 was basically like a base point and has been a base point in the past. So it's like anytime you cross back over that retest back down of that area is vital. That's what like really is going to control if your play is going to be like if it's going to work out or not. If that retest like fails at a particular level, if it breaks above, comes back down, retest, that retest has to play out. If it doesn't play out, that's like usually you fucking get the fuck out idea, and that's usually you'll see a fucking waterfall that gets created there, or something like those previously broken areas and retest, and they're generally usually at whole numbers like the 315, 317, 320, 322. All of those structures are always going to hold value no matter what. Even if the chart says that there's fucking like 5 liquidity sitting there, somebody will fucking be watching that and place it at market. It's just how mechanics work. So those are things I like to usually keep an eye on. And then I play a lot of things like if you line up if you're trading on like the 5-minute chart, if you line up the 200 EMA with VWAP, most of the time if price is over the 200 EMA and VWAP and then it comes back down to try to like break through, that breakdown is usually one of the biggest breakdowns for the day. Same thing usually if we have like an up day, that retest back down to VWAP, 200 EMA using a support thing usually rockets. It's usually one of the lower points for the day. So I like to try to use that like in a lot of downturning markets. VWAP is usually the point of control, and you'll see like after a while watching most of the names, you see VWAP will normally present the algos that are at VWAP are very scripted heavily, and usually you can get some pretty good trades that come off of the VWAP line with the 200 EMA. Like the short off of VWAP's been like a prime trade lately.
Great explanation. Yeah, I'm a fan of the 200 EMA, and then everyone knows I like the even larger EMA, the 300. That's my personal
300
secret strategy.
I don't hate on it, man. I've seen fucking some forex traders use the 800.
Damn. Yeah, people be using crazy numbers for EMAs, like Fibonacci numbers.
Yeah, I always use the fibs for EM. I mean, obviously not necessarily the 200, but like most of like early on, I used the 5 and the 13 for a while. I used to take a lot of like weekly crosses, and they normally would fucking hit like at least 70% of the time. But like the 55, like 89, and like 33, those all fucking weight too. Some people swear by the Fibonacci shit.
Well, thanks, Hallett, for that explanation of bookmap
Yeah,
and the settings.
yeah, that and every actually you could probably fucking if you could clip a second video of the fucking um.
Mhm.
Actually, no, you don't even no, you don't even have to worry about it because I forgot you're on the TOS. I have to make a fucking video for my settings, dude. Fucking everyone asks me every day, and I always forget to do it.
Well, how about this? I am doing a May mentorship course. I already asked Scrub Nugget if he wanted to be a guest teacher in exchange for 10% of recording sales. Would you want to do a bookmap class and
Yeah,
go over it?
sure.
And then you also can get 10% of the recording sales, and yada
No,
yada.
you don't gotta pay me, dude. Make plenty of money.
You sure?
I'm sure.
I want you to be compensated, bro. I'll pay you for the lesson itself.
Oh, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Come on, bro. Help
Fuck
me,
off.
help you, help me.
Fuck off. Who the fuck is that guy?
All right, I'll figure out which day in May. It's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 4 weeks. So
Yeah, I'll let you know. I have a court date. And I have another book map meeting at some point. So just let me know the date that you want me to do it, and then I can.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm setting up. I think for Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, aftermarket. So it'd be like 1:30 or 4:30.
feel bad. Scrub's been fucking
UTC.
begging me for a mentorship, and I just fucking haven't done anything with it.
Mm. Yeah, I recruited Scrub. He's going to do supply and demand and psychology. I got all my tricks up my sleeve. I'm going to teach everybody. So,
The
but
bullish bat.
yeah, harmonics, that's going to be a big lesson. And but the book map, I just started using it. I wouldn't be able to teach, but you definitely be able to bring a
Book
lot of
map
valuable
takes like a
information.
solid year to like really and like I would say a year of like everyday watching to like really fucking master the idea of the tape. And you like to me like you have to have a good understanding of like mechanics and the tape to like use book map to its fullest. That's my opinion on it. Like one of my guys, John, in my chat, he like I you know how it is in my chat. I fucking start everybody on the TOS version, same shit. And he like just recently upgraded to like the full package, like the iceberg indicator, fucking and everything. And like the amount that he learned in the year before even signing up, he's like, dude, he's like, I saved myself fucking at least $1,200 for the year. And like now that, because like with the iceberg, like the iceberg indicator is really nice because it'll tell you like when the big money orders are going off, when stops are getting hit. But like you have to be able to try to figure that shit out without that. Like there's so much value in being able to spot the risk. So when it does happen, it's not like, oh, it's not like a vague view. Like the ins and the outs of it and what's going on. It's like with candles, bro. Like candles took like it takes like a solid year to fucking get your footing in.
Right,
Being
right.
able to see patterns and shit without having to fucking
Without to
use your
draw them.
fucking lines.
Yeah, just pattern recognition with your eyes.
Yeah. And for anyone who wants a like more in-depth version of the volume profile, the Sierra charts is fucking fantastic. That's also a premium. I think it's like $60 a month or something like that, but it's really fucking good. And that's more of like a macro style structure. Look at the bigger view.
The Sierra chart was that.
It's essentially like so what you see in the volume profile, like basically like 1 day's worth of data would be like that, but it's instead of written in like a color, it's written in numbers. So like the numbers are essentially like market making codes and like certain other like institutional codes that mean certain things, and they're really good usually to find like key levels and like I said, bigger frames. or like key like rug pull spots or inventory adjustments.
Gotcha. How do you add that? Is that a indicator?
No, that's a whole
or
separate That's a
that's a
separate
different
program.
program. Got it.
Yeah, a bunch of the bookmap guys fucking use
Market's
that, and then
breaking
two
out
of my
now.
admins did.
Market's breaking out. Pretty hard
Nice.
right now. And then Apple calls.
Sick. Yeah, definitely clipping this. I'll send you the recording too.
Yeah. Let's hope they don't rug pull anybody at just above high a day. Does that look so much cleaner, dude, without all the light blue?
Oh my God, it looks so much better. Thank you. And I like adding the candles so I can see what the candles actually look like.
Dude. Oh yeah, that's another thing. The candles, by the way, are 1 minute time frame candles. Big
Yep.
FYI.
Yep. Yeah, I can see because it's literally like when you zoom in, it's 1 minute at a time going across each little dotted line, and then
Motherfucker, you can go into milliseconds.
you can.
Milliseconds, dog.
Oh. Wow.
Yep, there you go.
Wow.
So if you drag go up to where the price numbers are, right? And now so separate, left click it, and then like drag it up a little bit. So now you can see like the individual ticks.
Jesus Christ.
And that's called fucking fine tooth comb right there, player.
Like, oh, it's pumping. It goes up 10 cents.
Dude, bro, you know what my favorite thing is about bookmap? Obviously, like earnings is one of my favorite things about trading. But bro, whenever you're too zoomed in at like 4 o'clock, and like there's been times I'm watching like the Amazon's last earnings when they fucking explode. Dude, the candle literally like broke my fucking screen, dude. It looked like it could hit the ceiling. Hopefully, there's a big blow up right here so you can kind of see it.
It's like that meme of like the candle bar going through the roof of the house.
Oh, so funny, man. Damn, big amount of stops just got fucking whacked.
Well, great. I think we'll end it with that. And I'll clip that settings on bookmap session for everybody. I'll post it because that was really valuable information. Look, the chart looks so much better. Like it erased all the noise and the blue, added the candles, time and sales. Like I can read this better now. So yeah, thanks, Hal. We're 3 hours into the open, guys. Gonna close it down here. Everyone have a fantastic day.
Take it easy.